What's up, YouTube? Kari back with another fragrance review. As you can see, this video is opening up a little bit different. It's 4:20 as I record this. Who knows if I'm going to get it published on time. But this beauty right here contains a cannabis note. And I thought, what better way to explore the world and the mystique of the holiday of 420 than to examine the cannabis note within this and compare it to the cannabis note in a couple of other fragrances. Now, before we get started on that, we got to talk about something that's important, something that affects not just myself personally, but entire communities all over this country of the United States that I live in. And especially right now, this is something that we need to talk about before we celebrate any kind of stoner holiday. We need to talk about marijuana arrests, specifically drug arrests here in the United States, and the disproportionate rate that people of color have been locked up for simply possessing marijuana. Now, you might simply say to me, well, Kari, they legalized it. I mean, they did it. It's legal here in New York. It's legalized in many states around the country. But I challenge you to take a look at these statistics. And this isn't going to be a long part of the video where I start spitting all kind of knowledge at you and try to educate everyone. I'm going to leave a couple of links down below in the description to articles by the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union. They conducted all the research. I'm going to let you peruse that at your own will. But I'm going to give you a couple of facts about marijuana incarcerations during this video before we get started. Now, according to the ACLU's analysis, marijuana arrests as of 2010 accounted for over half of all arrests for drugs in the United States. Of the 8.2 million marijuana arrests between 2001 and 2010, 88% were for simply possessing marijuana. Nationwide, the arrest data revealed one consistent trend: significant racial bias. Now, what does that tell us? Nothing we don't already know, right? Despite roughly usage equal rates, blacks are 3.73 times more likely than whites to be arrested for marijuana. Come on, son. Those are the facts. Now, you would say to me, well, that's in 2010, right? I challenge you, listen a little bit further. More than 6 million arrests occurred between 2010 and 2018, and black people were still more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than white people in every state, including those that had legalized marijuana at that point. I'm going to leave the links down below in the description box. Please educate yourselves on marijuana reform, the laws, the arrest rates. Contact your local politicians. Get involved in your communities. Demand change. Racial profiling. The errant war on marijuana and drugs. That needs to stop. Stay tuned. We're going to get into the fragrance review in a minute. Welcome back. Let's review this fragrance. I keep the boxes for most of my fragrances. So for the ones where I do have the boxes, let's talk about presentation. The presentation for this particular fragrance is industry standard. The box is very, very bright and beautiful. But other than that, there isn't anything special or gimmicky about the presentation. Now let's talk about the fragrance. The juice. This wonderful, mysterious fragrance, FLORABOTANICA by the house Balenciaga. Now, the notes list for this fragrance are pretty simple. The top note is mint. The middle notes, or heart notes, are rose, carnation, And the one that we've come to explore today, cannabis. The base notes are vetiver, one of my personal favorites. You will find vetiver fragrances within maybe 80 some odd percent of my collection. I got vetiver all over the place. Haitian vetiver, Indonesian vetiver, all kinds, all over. And amber. And amber is another one that pops up very frequently within my collection. All right, so how does that present in the fragrance? Well, let me tell you, the mint is noticeable, and even though it is a top note, it performs as a heart note. The mint is very noticeable. Give it 2 squirts for you. I had this as my scent of the day for a good 3 or 4 days in a row last week, because I was just trying my best to investigate how the cannabis note presented itself, how it developed after the opening and toward the dry down. And the conclusion that I came to every single time was that I can't find it. I cannot. Now that we got through the review of FLORABOTANICA by the House of Balenciaga, the 420 props come out. Let's get into this investigation on the cannabis note. The cannabis note is present within Summer Vibes by Authenticity Perfumes, and it is also a note, as we just discussed, in FLORABOTANICA. Now, we've got Haze by Acro. Okay, so that autofocus took forever. But we've got Haze, and that fragrance is meant to simulate the experience of cannabis. Acro's Haze has top notes of absinthe, mint, and eucalyptus. The mint and the eucalyptus create an effervescent accord that I believe, with the addition of absinthe, is meant to simulate smoke and reefer. The middle note of clary sage makes it a fresh and sort of unisex fragrance. After it starts to dry down, it keeps it familiar. And the base notes of leather and patchouli also add to a very familiar, easy to wear accord. This is nothing if a poor man's imitation at the effect of a cannabis scent. It's a little hard to describe without actually experiencing it, because the Acro fragrances are actually meant all to stimulate redolescent memories, if you will, and to create a scent memory within those who smell them. They're all amazing fragrances. This one, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're comparing it to a cannabis flower, a cannabis leaf, cannabis plants, or the actual burning of cannabis, it puts you in that vibe, but it definitely does not smell the same. You could probably fool someone who thinks oregano is pot. So now, let's talk about Summer Vibes. And this, okay? Summer Vibes by Authenticity is probably gonna be a daily wear for me in the upcoming summer season. Why do I say that? It smells freaking amazing. It performs super powerfully. We're going to talk about all that when I review this fragrance after it comes in the mail. But as far as that cannabis note, that's what we're here for. I still don't smell it in this one either, y'all. I'm going to tell you right now. It's got top notes of bergamot, bitter orange, and green apple and tangerine. And that bouquet of citrus and fruit smells delectable. but it doesn't necessarily take it into a gourmand place. It is incredibly delicious smelling. It does give you that summer vibe right off the rip, and they named it incredibly appropriately. The heart notes: lavender, balsam Peru, and cannabis. Again, my friend is present, but he is not seen. He's like that elusive kid in the 7th grade who always managed to skip class, but would be marked present on every attendance sheet. You wonder how he did it? He was never in class or always asleep, but he always had a perfect attendance record. That's what the cannabis note is here for me. It's something that I know is there, and I might be picking it up, but I just don't see it. Doesn't mean that this isn't an amazing fragrance. Now, the base notes: sandalwood, my love vetiver, amber, and musk. That musk, when it dries down, when it finally dries down after an incredible 9 to 10 hours, it keeps it fresh. And I'm talking fresh out of the shower fresh. This smells amazing from opening to dry down, and I really want to talk about it a whole lot more, but that's not what we're here for. As far as the cannabis note and the comparison and its prominence, don't come here for that. Come here because it is an amazing, long-lasting, and crazy performing fragrance with an intense and immense crazy sillage that had me smelling myself all over my apartment, through the halls of my apartment building, and out through my supermarket. This one was a beast, and it wasn't even a full wear. Okay, let me stop talking about this and get back to the task at hand. As far as a cannabis note and the way that they smell in fragrances, I'm gonna have to say that none of these accurately or even remotely depict a cannabis scent to a nose that is familiar with the aroma of cannabis, but Acro definitely puts you in a frame of mind, gives you that vibe, if you will, if only for a few fleeting moments. Summer vibes. While you may not be able to detect it, boy, does this smell freaking amazing. And I'll wear it, proudly tell people that it contains a cannabis note. Let's see if their noses can pick it out. Mine can't, or maybe it's just my skin. FLORABOTANICA. The reason we all came to the party. This, in conclusion, an amazing fragrance. One that I would recommend to anyone that is into soapy florals, slightly green fragrances. This is a great summer and spring wear. I'm going to be wearing it this summer and spring. How about you? Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about my comparison to cannabis notes, my never-ending search for one that may or may not smell like cannabis plants. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know if you've got any of these in your collection and what you think about them. There's going to be information on my first YouTube giveaway coming in a video that will be published soon. Stick around for that. Thanks for checking out my video. I appreciate everyone that watched. This one was a little bit long. Thanks for riding with me. I'll see you in the next one.